Emily, good job on your compare and contrast essay. I've marked the grade where we're at so far on your draft. And this body paragraph number 3, I feel like that was misleading. I don't know why I put that in there because a block paragraph essay usually only has 2 body paragraphs. Sometimes you can divide them into 4, but when you have 2 topics, it's always going to have an even number of paragraphs. So if you divide your essay, Star Wars versus Star Trek, you would devote 2 paragraphs to Star Wars and 2 paragraphs to Star Trek, so you would have 4. Or in this instance, we're going to work on just having 2 body paragraphs. So that was a little misleading, so I'm going to go ahead and put the 5. I don't have your works cited page. We're going to work on the introduction and conclusion for your final, and I need the works cited page. And you don't have it, you have it mostly formatted for MLA style, but we're going to work on that. I'm going to go through and I'm going to review this document, and I'm going to send you the reviewed document. And once I make a change, then you can accept it or you can reject it. So if you accept it, let's highlight it. If you accept it, it'll become part of your document. If you reject it, wait a second, I gotta highlight it. If you reject it, it goes away. So I'm going to work on making some changes and suggestions, and then you can accept the ones you want, reject the ones you want, and then work on your draft and get it into final form for next week. And this is, I guess, it's Institute in Excellence in Writing. You can just put writing here. That's not really a big deal though, because I'm kind of doing a mixed class for you because you're a senior. Even though you haven't had the basic writing with me, I'm trying to get you ready for some college writing. First thing we need to do is this all needs to be double spaced. And when I say double spaced, we need the full 2.0. And then where you have these references, I'm going to need your works cited page. For each of your references. So every time you cite something, I need to see where you got it from. The whole point of doing in-text citations is so that the reader can flick back to that works cited page and find where you got your quote to see if they think it's reliable or not. And you got a good start on your introduction, but we need to give it a little bit more. And even though this is a compare and contrast, we need a thesis statement that tells the reader about what is coming up. And storytelling is about 2 things. It's about character and plot. Makes me think that you're just going to talk about character and plot, and you don't really talk about, well, you talk a little bit about plot, but mainly you talk about the character and the place and the scenery, and you talk about details from it. So let's add something here. Both Star Wars and Star Trek have a story and characters that are out of this world. That's kind of a cliche, but you might be able to think of something better. So story and characters. You do say characters here, but you don't really talk about the plot at all. And since you're doing that as a quote, you can't change his quote. So you might want to just come up with a little bit more about and think of a better statement that tells us what we're going to have. The story being told in Star Wars is a classic one. Every few hundred years the story is retold because we have a tendency to do the same thing over and over again. This doesn't seem to have anything to do with your essay to me. because that's your part of your topic sentence, and really you don't talk about that this is a retold story. And if you want to put that in there, fine, and if not, let's delete it. This part right here is still George Lucas. The story being told in Star Wars is a classic one. Um, it involves a battle. Oh, I spelled involved wrong. Involves a battle between good and evil. And because you started this as a quote, it would be really nice. Oh, you did start it as a quote. I didn't realize that. Like Star Wars, Star Trek has no shortage of fascinating characters. Okay, because we said it involves a battle between good and evil. We're going to try and say something along that line right here too. And Star Trek is not such a battle between good and evil. Star Trek involves a battle between humanity and humanity will reach maturity and wisdom on the day it begins not to but takes a delight in differences. Is a battle not between for humanity humanity's something for humanity's evolution. Star Wars has many characters. You did a great job of making this parallel. All of this seemed to be very parallel to me, so I'm not going to go through that. Just know that every place that you have this, I need that citation page. And then this third paragraph, which I feel like it was my fault because I put that in the rubrics, we're just going to take this and put these in the main paragraphs. Originally, Star Wars aired nationwide and inspired 3 follow-up movies. Okay, so let's just cut it. And we can put it as a new paragraph here and see if it has enough. And then the next one, Star Trek started as a series. And okay, let's cut it and let's put it after here. Star Wars was in the early years, had 3 miniseries. Let's cut it and put it here. Star Trek. Actually, I think that would go there anyways. Star Trek. And we'll have to take out of on the other hand since we're not doing the point by point compare and contrast. And this we could put in your conclusion. Overall, both follow a pattern. Human adventures, the plot scenery is... Oops. So I've rearranged it a little bit. And that will give you a better block format where you have an introduction all about Star Wars. And actually we have 2 sentences here. We may just make that into 1 paragraph. I want you to go through it and make sure there's enough here to make a paragraph. We usually like a paragraph to be at least 5 sentences. You might be able to come up with more or just blend it in and we'll have a longer paragraph. I need your citations, and then your conclusion and your introduction need to be improved. They need to be a little bit longer, but that's okay for next week. And let's go ahead, and I'm going to put it as Wednesday because I think this will be a quick change for you. Try and get it back to me Wednesday, and then I'll reread it and we'll go over how to put some transitions into this essay, and I'll get a look at your citation page. So go ahead and make these changes and get me your citation page. That's the end of the video.